Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time on this Sunday night, April the 12th. Lovely to have you guys in for another episode of the Prime Time Show. We do have a news story that broke about an hour and a half ago while I was doing some Fox Sports Radio this afternoon, and that is a new report on Rueben Bain and a car crash that he has been linked to that left one passenger fatally injured and another with serious injuries. Now, this is a report from, it's an incident that happened 2 years ago, and the reporting is just coming out now. We will get into how long it's been circulating in the news cycle. We will get into why you're just now hearing about it right now, and we will get a little Sunday Funday in because this is heavier subject matter. And just, for the sake of all of our mental health, we'll do a little Sunday Funday regarding the Masters at the end of the show. But yes, Rueben Bain has been linked to a car crash 2 years ago that led to one person being in a coma for 3 months and then passing away after the fact. It is an unfortunate story, of course. Anytime you have any kind of injury of consequence, much less a loss of life, of course, your heart goes out to the family of the victim. But the question is, okay, for the purposes of Rueben Bain, who knew about this? How long have teams known about this? Does Miami have a responsibility to disclose something like this? And given that they didn't, that no information was produced from the university, from the head coach about it for 2 years, more than 2 years since the incident itself, almost 2 years since the victim in this car crash passed away after spending months in a coma. It does bring a number of questions to light. Did a team leak this at an advantageous time? We are 10 days away from the NFL draft, so there will be all manner of different speculations around this kind of a story. So we'll get into it together here tonight. Share the broadcast around on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and on Twitch, wherever you are spending your precious and valuable time with us. We do appreciate your participation as always. If you're hanging out on Twitter, please subscribe or please share the show. Please retweet it in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. If you're hanging out on Facebook Live, you can share now to public. That's in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. YouTube and Twitch, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, and text the link to a friend if you want to have more of your Titans fan friends participate in our discussion tonight. We are going to read directly from the reporting of Ollie Connolly, who does an NFL podcast, writes for a Substack called The Read Optional. He does a lot of work with our buddy John Ledyard, who, of course, is one of the foremost analysts at this time of year. Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time from the T-Dot Studios, where the Tennessee Department of Transportation reminds you to be a part of the solution to end littering at NobodyTrashesTN.com. By Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer. Online at tworiversford.com, quality American-made Ford vehicles and award-winning customer service. By Simon Says Nashville, the premier men's clothing spot in Nashville is Simon Says. Make sure you go check out their 50% off offerings right now, simonsaysnashville.com, for more information. Since we're plugging things before we get into the bulk of the show, I did see somebody in the comments. Vernon says, "What's up, Buck? I have my install tickets." Yes, the install with Greg Cosell of NFL Films. Robert will post the link for tickets in the chat. We have not announced a special guest yet. We will do so very soon. The event itself is May the 1st, so you are running out of time. I will tell you that a third of our ticket inventory is already accounted for. So we do have some tickets available. We only had 250 tickets to begin with, but we've sold a third of our inventory so far. Once we announce the special guest, those tickets will be gone. So I would recommend to you that you get those in advance of the announcements that we will make, because once the announcements are made, I don't say I didn't tell you on the front end that the tickets were still available at the time when they are currently available. So looking forward to seeing all of you there. And like I said, Robert will put the ticket link in the live stream chat for all of you who have not yet gotten your tickets. Okay, so let's talk about Rueben Bain. Speaking of tickets, this is a citation type of situation being reported by Ollie Connolly of the Read Optional. Again, as I mentioned, it's a Substack. where he and John Ledyard do NFL analysis. Not a ton of reporting, but he also did have Ollie Connolly was the first person to report that Bill Belichick was going to be hired by North Carolina, ironically enough. So when Ollie gets a scoop, it's typically a good scoop. Now, the other part of this is, because I've seen a number of people commenting on it league-wide, like Albert Breer and Todd McShay, and other people in the know in the NFL, saying that this report or this information, it was just recently put into a report, but this information has been known by teams for a period of time. And I am, so I'm going to read from the report first and foremost, and then we'll talk about, okay, why is it just getting out there now, given that it's a 2-year-old, more than a 2-year-old story. So the headline of it is Rueben Bain linked to a 2024 Miami crash that left a passenger fatally injured. Rueben Bain, a projected top 10 pick in this upcoming draft, was involved in a fatal traffic collision in Miami in March of 2024, according to records and reports reviewed by the Reed Optional. The incident was not previously reported. Bain, a sophomore at Miami at the time, was driving on I-95 in Miami at 4 a.m. on March the 17th of 2024 when his vehicle struck another car before careening into concrete barriers on both sides of the highway. So a pinball situation, and the car ultimately comes to rest in the middle of the lane of the highway. According to police crash records, one of the 4 passengers in Bain's car, so Bain driving the vehicle, as I mentioned, Destiny Betts, a 22-year-old college student from Georgia who was visiting Miami for spring break, suffered incapacitating injuries in the crash and was rushed to the Ryder Trauma Center from the scene. She never regained consciousness. Betts died on June 13th, 2024, after spending almost 3 months in a coma. So that is the information that you have at your disposal, is being reported by Ollie Connolly at the Reed Optional. I would take your Two Rivers Ford take on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. What is your reaction to the newest reporting on Ruben Bane Jr. About the alleged incident from 2024? Not alleged, it was a confirmed incident in 2024 that is just now being reported. No charges were pressed, for what it's worth. And we can talk about what it means for Ruben Bane, what the implications are, who benefits by having this story out there right now, because there are some layers to this that are worth diving into. But right now, what is your initial reaction to the latest reporting on Ruben Bane Jr.? You give me your answer in the comments section, made possible by Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer, online at tworiversford.com. Quality American-made Ford vehicles and award-winning customer service, always there for you. Local, honest, real. Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer. So, what was your initial reaction to the news? Well, my first reaction was, okay, it's just now getting out there. And I like other people, which it's completely fair to point this out. I had heard this as a rumor. The first time that I heard this as a rumor was 2 to 3 weeks ago. It is also being reported that NFL teams have all been aware of this incident in the lead up, but this is the first time that somebody's verified the rumor, found the police report records, published it in an article with reported as fact. So these are all the different details that we have available. At the time, you can say, and it's fair criticism, well, if you heard it, why haven't you been talking about it? Well, one, it's a rumor. It was a rumor at the time. I don't, I'm not to let me off the hook or anything like that, but Ollie Connolly did reporting that the rest of the people who knew about this didn't, whether it be Todd McShay, who's commenting on it that teams knew, whether it be Albert Breer, who's commenting on it that other teams knew, or that teams have known for a period of time. You see a lot of people in the NFL reporting sphere saying, yes, this has been out there for some time. Again, report versus rumor, confirmed fact versus rumor. I had heard it as a rumor a couple of weeks ago. That's not to say I knew this and you didn't. And so your immediate reaction would be, well, why didn't you report it? I didn't have it confirmed. Ollie Connolly did. So good job on Ollie Connolly for following through on the reporting and getting the story out there before anybody else with credibility was able to. So your initial reaction to this, pistol grip with a fair one, if no charges were pressed, why are we talking about it? And I do think it's notable that an NFL prospect, because he had a second offense in 2025 that also hasn't been reported on it. Now that reckless driving, so he had 2 reckless driving citations. One for this incident in 2024. He had another one in 2025. It is worth digging into additional details on it. Anytime there is any report of bad decision making, like Tavondre Sweat's DUI, which he was just recently cleared from. Tavondre Sweat had a DUI a couple of weeks. I think it was like 2 weeks before the draft. The family is actively trying to press charges for what it's worth. The family of the victim here, the 22-year-old girl who died as a result of the wreck, they are the ones who have been pushing to get this story out there publicly. They are the ones who are still pursuing charges. So it's 1, are you a repeat offender? 2, why were you even in that situation to begin with? It's relevant. These would be questions that we would ask in the same way that Jeff Simmons, who had the domestic, obviously different infractions here, right? I'm not trying to compare and say one's worse than the other or one's one versus the other, but like Jeff had a domestic violence incident in high school. He had no issues, no reported issues in college, has never had any reported issues since that one situation where his sister and another woman got into an altercation. Jeff went to defend his sister and ended up laying hands on the other woman. Obviously, that's not good. We asked Jeff Simmons about that, even though it was a high school infraction, because the Titans were the team that drafted him. These are relevant questions, especially for an organization with a female owner. There are reasons there are relevant reasons for this information being made public. Now you can question the timing. I think the timing is going to be fair here, because you can ask about okay, well, who benefits from having this story out here? Did another NFL team leak information? Because every NFL team allegedly knew about this and have been investigating this. For what it's worth, he's been going on 30 visits and getting questions about this from teams the whole way through since this process started. We don't know exactly the timeline for how long teams have known about this. Have they known since the combine? Have they known for multiple years? Did Mario Cristobal disclose this privately to teams? Is this something that Mario Cristobal needs to disclose publicly? Especially since there was a loss of life. Now, Rueben Bain did not kill this woman, obviously, but he was driving the vehicle in which a woman died. So there are things here that are worth follow-ups, specifically about an individual's character, about an individual's judgment, and also why is this information now coming to light? So it's worth having a skeptical mind about all of these things. If you are somebody, and I assume Pistol Grip is on YouTube, who thinks that it's not relevant, I'm not here to convince you otherwise. But I do think that it is worth those kind of situations, any kind of offense that is any kind of transgression that results in a loss of life, whether directly or indirectly. I do think it's worth talking about. And Jalen Carter's situation, the Philadelphia Eagles defensive tackle, that was more recent to the time that he was drafted. In fact, that story broke that he had been involved in a street race that resulted in 2 people losing their life. That story broke 10 minutes before Jalen Carter was supposed to get up to the podium. Trippin' Titan says, so whose fault was the accident? Okay, so let's read some additional reporting here in the comment section if you would like. On Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. Primetime made possible by Nobody Trashes Tennessee. The Tennessee Department of Transportation has the Nobody Trashes Tennessee initiative, in which they do great work serving people's communities and the environments. NobodyTrashesTN.com for more information, how you can get involved with a great cause, courtesy of TDOT. Okay, so some additional information here. Now, for what it's worth, somebody like Todd McShay has gone on Twitter saying, by no means am I diminishing the severity of the terrible tragedy, but the wording here in the headline, in the tweet, reads as if this is recent news to NFL teams. It's not. This has been known and vetted for several months. Okay, so teams have at least known about this for several months. Let's read some additional information from the reporting of Ollie Connolly, who had this story first. So I left off with the part of the reporting that said, that the 22-year-old victim was in a coma for 3 months after the incident where Rueben Bain was driving and then eventually passed away, which is, of course, a terrible tragedy. A second passenger was hospitalized with injuries. 2 other University of Miami players were in the car at the time of the crash, both teammates of Bain at Miami and both eligible for this upcoming draft 2026. The police crash report states that Bain operated his vehicle in a careless or negligent manner. Following the collision with the second vehicle, Bain's car, owned by a company named Miami Sports 27 Inc., struck the east concrete wall before being redirected into the west concrete wall, where it came to rest. It was later towed after sustaining disabling damage. Here's an interesting part of this story. No field sobriety test was administered at the scene. Okay. Bain was cited for careless driving. So what, I guess initially my response would be, you don't have to submit to a field sobriety test. He was not asked to take it, so there's no reason for him to. I do think typically in those situations, you are typically asked to take a field sobriety test. You're at least asked. Whether you actually submit yourself to the field sobriety test or not is a different story. But no field sobriety test administered at the scene. Bain was cited for careless driving. That charge was dismissed approximately 2 weeks before this woman died while she remained in a coma. And there are multiple quotes from the family of the victim who passed away here, who have been trying to get the story out there. There's a number of different things that are being said here about the overwhelming toll on the family itself, and essentially alleging that the family is alleging that Miami covered this up. Apparently, Ali Connolly talked to another team executive, and so I'll read some of the sourcing on this. Quote, "It feels like it could be Laramie Tunsil all over again." I would say this is a little different. Laramie Tunsil was smoking weed out of a gas mask. All right. Like, maybe not ideal. It's different world even than when Laramie Tunsil got drafted like 10 years ago. But I don't know that I would compare it to a reckless driving charge that was ultimately dropped, but did result in a loss of life. I don't know that that's a one-to-one. But they are comparing this. A league source says, or told Ali Connolly, quote, "It doesn't feel like Bain has been transparent with us, so he was not forthcoming." It's one of these situations in why did you feel the need not to disclose this? This is a pretty significant life event, right? You were involved you were driving a car in which a person died. Did you not feel the need to disclose this? Why? If you didn't feel the need to disclose this, why? Maybe the explanation is as simple as, well, I didn't receive any charges as a result. You've got Jalen Carter as a more appropriate comparison. Henry Ruggs, obviously involved in a loss of life accident after he had been drafted. If I'm not mistaken, he was already. What was it? Was that Henry Ruggs that had the incident in Vegas after he had been drafted by the Raiders, or was that Damon Arnett? I know there were two different issues with. I think it was Henry Ruggs. Yes, Robert is confirming to me that Henry Ruggs was the player who was involved in that car crash after he was drafted by Las Vegas. So another team executive adds to this reporting, quote, "We are concerned about multiple incidents. We are waiting for the other shoe." Okay, so basically teams are concerned that they knew about this incident, but they had to find out about it without Bain volunteering it. And two, okay, well, if you're hiding this from us, what else is out there at this point? He continuing the reporting from this, Bain was again cited for a careless driving in 2025. That case was also dismissed because of something called a defective citation, which I'm not familiar with. I've never heard the term defective citation before. But either way, both cases were dismissed. So the question becomes, what was your initial reaction? Mine was, okay, let's see what the dialogue is around this, because a lot of people in the NFL have heard this rumor. This is the first time that it's being reported as fact. And so how does the dialogue change around him at this point? How does Mike Bell says, does Cam know about this? Cam would not have been on the team 2 years ago, right? Cam's only year at Miami was 2025. So, I mean, there's reason to believe that Cam Ward didn't have a reason to know about this. I don't know that this comes up. I don't know how often a situation like this would come up. I don't know how many people in the Miami locker room would be like, "Hey, did you hear this thing about Ruben last year?" But Cam did not arrive on campus. Cam did not arrive on campus in Miami until 2025. So there's no, not that it matters, but Cam's knowledge of the situation, regardless. So Mike Bell says an illegal traffic ticket that contains errors. Okay, so maybe the officer issuing the citation issued the citation incorrectly in this Rueben Bain situation. That much detail is not being given, other than that there was another careless driving citation and that the case was ultimately dismissed for a defective citation. So I'm not sure what further detail is required there. Did they let him off the hook? Did somebody forget to sign the citation? A clerical error, it sounds like. Joe Blacko says Restrepo knows what happened. Restrepo would have been on the team in 2024. Cam Sail a Whale on YouTube says, do you expect Bain or his agent to put out a response or stay quiet on the matter until after the draft? If teams know about it, and teams have known about it, according to Todd McShay, for a period of months, I don't, at least from my perspective, and I don't know what they will choose to do. I don't know that a statement is necessary. I think if the people who are interviewing you potentially to hire you, in this case draft you, already know, then is a statement to the public something that these teams require? Doesn't seem like that. Again, he does not seem to have been forthcoming with teams on this. I imagine that their preferred way to go about this would be a statement only brings additional attention to this story versus the people who need to know this story already know about this and have talked to Rueben Bain about this, right? So there's nothing that he can put out in a statement that's going to benefit the people that are actually going to draft him, right? It's just how much do they want to impact the public dialogue? I would think if I was his lawyer, I would probably just say, if I was his agent, even, I would probably just say, yeah, man, I just think lay low on this. Now, laying low on the front end was probably not smart. At this point, I don't know that additional commentary from him is going to help him. So Trippin' Titan says he got off way too easy and he had another incident last year. Team should stay away. Well, that's essentially what the source that one of the sources that Ali Connolly talked to about this is saying. We're waiting for the other shoe to drop. So are there additional things there that we don't know about that he has hidden from us that we are going to have to go out and find out about? Yeah, I mean, I suppose that's fair skepticism. If you didn't tell me about this, what else are you not telling me about? It's regardless of what happened, it's a tragic situation, right? This is a circumstance in which this player was driving a car, got in a wreck, and somebody died. Somebody got seriously injured. Another person died as a result of their injuries. So I do think it's fair for teams to dig on it. If you don't think it's relevant to public information, like if you think, well, if the teams know about it, why is this reporter reporting on it? I mean, I don't know. I think it's interesting to have some additional context on it, because if the Titans were to draft him, for example, whether it's at 4, whether they trade back and take him, whatever, yeah, I would like to ask follow-up questions. Okay, it's being reported that you did not disclose this information to teams. One, give him the opportunity to answer that question. Did you disclose this to teams initially? And if you didn't, why? I think those are fair questions to ask from any media core of the team that ultimately drafts him. It's fair to ask that about, the organization. Did you guys know about this on the front end? Did you have to find out about it? Was this a concern? How big a concern was this for you? Did you feel comfortable enough in the vetting process and the dismissal of these charges? Like, there are follow-ups that are relevant there. So, best case scenario, he takes an Uber everywhere, right? But Tiger Woods can take an Uber everywhere, and Tiger Woods still got behind the wheel. So I'm not saying that this is a similar situation. People make tragic errors all the time. I'm not dismissing that by saying Yeah, this is I think it becomes more of a story. It's a story regardless, but it becomes more of a story because is there a cover up involved in it? Did you try and just essentially slide one by teams? Yeah, like that I think is what's at the crux of the story. Did you one, this happened twice and you got off the hook for it twice? Why? Two, do you think that you are now? Listen, Robert and I were. I hesitate to say joking about this because again, it is a tragic story. But Robert and I were joking about this because Robert's a Ravens fan. The Ravens pick where Robert 14. Is that right? Yeah, Robert would take him at 14. Right. A lot of teams would take him if he slides, regardless of the short arm situation. There's a big difference if you draft him at 4 versus 14 with all of this stuff. So this is Duck says on YouTube, our accident records not public information. You're treating Bain like he played for Georgia. Sure, this was requested. It is public information in the sense that, like with Todd Downing, I remember having to submit a records request on Todd Downing. I remember having to submit a records request on a lawsuit that Taylor Lewan filed against the people that botched his ACL repair the first time. So it is public record, but you do have to, one, know that there's a story that is worth pursuing to request that public record, and two, file a request. Different departments, different agencies, different cities, they may take any number of days, weeks, some in the case months. Some will try to fight you on it. Records requests are tricky, even though they are technically, most of them, public information. So you have to take that into account on, okay, so if this was floating around months from now, why are we just now finding out about it? Well, there is a process in getting that information out responsibly, right? And assuming that Ollie has done his due diligence here, it seems that he did take the measures to make sure that it was reported responsibly. So the second question that I have for you guys is this on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and on Twitch in the comment section, where you are welcome to participate wherever you would like. How much will this hurt Rueben Bain's draft stock? In the comment section. It is a tragedy, and you hate to immediately jump from the tragedy, the tragic events, to the okay, but where can you get it? Where will he fall? Type of situation. Because I do think that there's going to be a conclusion that some of you jump to say, well, a team leaked this because they want him to fall. That could be so, and we don't have any information that indicates that's so. It's also, I think, the safer assumption, and maybe you should say, well, don't assume at all. That's completely fine. But the safer assumption is the family of the victim has been trying to get this story out in the public for years and has just now been able to do that, which is more likely than a team 10 days before the draft saying, okay, let's put this out there and let's see if we can get him at 16 or 25 if you're the Bears or something like that, right? Now, does that happen? Has that happened? Hell yes. Can a team smell blood in the water and be like, oh, this, it's a terrible thing that happened, but I'd still take him at 27 or something like that, right? If he was to fall significantly out. If the draft stock is hurt, it was already hurt, right? Because again, teams have known about this for months. This, to me, with charges that are dismissed, the family is pursuing what it's worth. The family is pursuing additional charges. And also, to add some additional context to this, just from the Ollie report, because I want to make sure, I do think that this information is relevant. At the very bottom of the article, the careless driving charge against Bain was dismissed by the court approximately 2 weeks before Betts' death, which we mentioned. No finding of criminal liability has been made in connection with the crash or her death. So they're saying that Bain has not been found criminally liable for either of these things, which is a relevant piece of information. So if you say, okay, teams knew about this for months, is that going to hurt his draft stock? Well, theoretically, it already has, but we haven't found out about it yet. We've been operating, the public and a lot of the media who hasn't been able to report on this or didn't report on this or didn't know about this, all three categories or so. People in mock drafts can, like Daniel Jeremiah can have heard about this and he can say, okay, I don't see Ben going in the top 10 in my mock draft. but not disclose why. And I'm not saying that that's something Daniel Jeremiah did. I'm just saying you can see it subtly in the draft stock conversations without inherently being like, oh no, this is why he's dropping. People can nebulously refer to it as off the field issues. That's a broad tent. Off the field issues, right? Cam Sail Away says, at the combine, what led you to think the Titans were not high on Bain? Well, conversations with people, but that was just about the physical stuff. That was about the physical measurables on Rueben Bain. That's why I said it, because that's the information that I was given at the time. Is that no, the arm length thing is real for them, and not just for them, but they're the only ones that I think are relevant, to the purposes of our conversations. It's not like I'm reporting regularly on, what the Jets are going to do or what the Giants are going to do. So yeah, I had heard that the before. Again, I didn't hear the car wreck rumor before it was being reported as fact. I didn't hear the rumor until 3 weeks ago. So teams, based on the timeline that McShay is talking about, a period of several months, teams sound like they would have known at the combine. Maybe it's not worth kicking up the dust of, well, that's the arm length thing. But also, did you hear about this car wreck he was in that killed a woman? Yeah, that's one of the things. Roy Power says, LOL, none of this mattered when he played for the national title and dominated. The media jokes. Well, okay. I don't understand your meaning there. And I'm not dismissing the comment, Roy. I don't understand the correlation that you're drawing. If the media didn't know about it at the time, so the national championship was what, January? That would technically encompass a period of several months, so teams could have known about it, but media would not have known about it. If media had known about it for at any point in the last 2 years, then yeah, it would have absolutely been part of the coverage. Now, if, Roy, your criticism, and again, you're welcome to provide whatever context you want. I'm not dismissing your comment. I'm just trying to understand it a little more. If your criticism is that why did media find out about this story sooner? Okay, that's fair criticism. These as I mentioned earlier, you have to, 1, get tipped off about the story, 2, submit a public records request, 3, vet the reporting around this and talk to multiple people, get it confirmed on multiple fronts. And nobody's done that for 2 years until 10 days before the NFL draft. So if that's your criticism, Roy, I think that's fair. If you're saying that none of this mattered when he was playing for a national championship, well, yeah, because nobody knew about it at least nobody in the public sphere knew about it. Miami isn't going to volunteer that information. It's like, why make more mess than need be? Especially 2 seasons ago, I'm sure they were hoping that this would just get, swept under the rug, as many things do. But if your criticism is that you're blaming the media for the coverage of the story now that the media knows that there's a story, I think your criticism is misplaced, is how I would categorize that. So with that out into the ecosystem, well, obviously, I'm sure more information will become available tomorrow. We'll talk about it tomorrow on the radio show from 10 to 1 on 104.5 The Zone. I do want to get to a little bit of a light moment because we did have a Masters champion, Rory, back-to-back Masters champion for this opportunity. So he won the 90th Masters. Huge moment for Rory, especially given what he's done in his career. So my Sunday Funday is going to be Rory McIlroy related, but it will not be him winning the Masters. We'll get to that here in just a second. Quickly, I did want to play for you this clip of our buddy Cam Wolfe of the NFL Network sitting down with Rueben Bain at the Miami Pro Day here a couple of weeks ago.
Man, we saw what you did all year. The tape you put on the college football playoff. What else did you want to show the scouts, the GMs, the head coaches that were here for your Pro Day today?
My versatility. I feel like most people didn't know I could just drop in coverage and move around like that.
Yeah, 30 yards down the field, you know?
Track balls, do anything I'm asked. I feel like I'm a versatile player, and that's what I showed today. Just knowing that I'm at a new weight, new body type, new style, and I'm just the same player. No matter what I'm doing, I could do anything in the game of football.
So you said new weight, new body type. What does that look like? Where do you want to play?
Right now I'm at 265. I feel like that's a playing weight for me. My body feel real good here. Feel explosive, still feel strong. Quick, I'm sorry.
Now you good.
Quicker and faster, just Feeling like my old self. Feeling very, very agile and lean and loose, and just in a way where I could be my best version of myself.
Absolutely, and you still have that power. I saw it when you was popping them sleds. You know,
Yes, sir.
I'm laughing because I talked to your coach Jason Taylor before, and he was talking about how all ball you were. And he said one example is 3 years they've been getting on you with your haircut, saying that you might look homeless. I know there was a viral meme for the combine. He said that's an example of just how focused you are on ball. What is that element of you and how important ball is to you?
Ball is real important, man. This is what I do each and every day. I'm just so fortunate to wake up and play football for a living. Thank you to God, but this is an opportunity I don't take lightly. So I gave my all to football because football gave us all to me.
So that is Cam Wolfe of the NFL Network sitting down with Rueben Bain. I guess technically Cam Wolfe of ESPN, right? Because I keep forgetting that ESPN bought the NFL Network. That was made official after owners meeting. So I guess Cam is technically an ESPN employee again. Either way, that is Rueben Bain's most recent media appearance, for what it's worth. Nothing to do with the latest reporting on this, but just that is the most recent time since the combine that Rueben Bain has been in front of a microphone. And no information at the time had been reported about the incident. A little bit of Sunday Fun Day, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. Real quick, a reminder that the Primetime program is made possible by the wonderful people at Simon Says Nashville, the premier men's clothing spot in Nashville. Is Simon Says. Great offers right now on their 50% off inventory. They also have great stuff in style for spring. And as we get ready to head into summer months, I know I always need a few different things for my wardrobe, whether I'm picking out stuff from the 50% off rack or from any of their new items that they have. They've always got great stuff. Stephanie and her team do an amazing job putting you in the best position to feel comfortable in what you're wearing. SimonSaysNashville.com for more information today. A little bit of Sunday Fun Day. Rory McIlroy won the Masters back-to-back for Rory, as I mentioned. Par 3 competition, always very wholesome. Robert found this clip of Rory and his daughter, one of his daughters, during the par 3. So that's Rory and his two daughters. Well, the older one picking up the younger one looking dazed, having no idea what she just did, but nailing the putt. Well done. Well done. She looks like she's got her dad's short game out there. Always a good, wholesome moment or two at the par 3 competition. Just a fun Masters. Masters always the best. I really enjoy it, even though I'm not an avid golf consumer. And just sick by Rory to go back-to-back. A worthy Masters champion, if for no other reason we know he has good taste in picking out his Masters champion dinner. So we will have a lot to talk about on the radio show tomorrow. There are additional details that I think are worth discovering, or discussing rather, on the latest on Diana Rossini and her, it's not being called a suspension, but she's essentially been put on ice from The Athletic. She's not going to be reporting on the NFL right now. Her reporting is under investigation because of the Mike Vrabel Sedona story that came out. Mike Vrabel is also avoiding his pre-draft press conference. Elliot Wolf is going to give that to the Boston media. Do think there's some additional details that are worth talking about there. There's news on the NFL trades front that are worth diving into, and obviously we'll have some more details on the Rueben Bain story tomorrow from 10 to 1 on 104.5 The Zone. So we'll look forward to your participation there, and we will see you then.
He's a hoe, and I want that known. Like, I